All right. What's up, my brothers? We are live. Class is in session. Bomber Command is about to open the bomb bay and drop some cold, hard truth bombs. This will be a little bit of a lesson for you guys in female nature. Do me a huge solid as you guys are kind of joining the stream. Or if you're watching elsewhere, like on Facebook or some other platforms, just hit that link. If you're on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, come join us over on YouTube. It helps me out a ton with the algorithms. And hit that like button again. So as I often do, I will get emails, comments, and DMs from women throughout, the months, the weeks, and so on, lecturing me on something that they want me to change. They don't know how to deal with stuff. So what they'll do is, rather than them dealing with themselves or the response to it, they want the outside world to change to more accommodate them. So this will be your Friday afternoon lesson on female nature. Hopefully we can get through this in, let's say, 20, 30 minutes or so. So just bear with me. I got an email that I wanted to go through and a comment as well from another post, which will highlight something slightly different, but along the same vein. So we'll throw it up on the screen here and add to stream. There we go. I don't know how clear that is on your screen, but I'll just read it out. She goes on to say, "Hey there, and good evening." So she's a pleasant one. I've had much terser openings from some of my female fans over the years, but excuse me. I just did like an hour and change with LFA on his channel, so I'm a little out of breath. Hold on a sec. Get a little more water. There we go. I am reaching out, not with the intention of telling you off. That's in bold. I recognize that you're intelligent. I know this is something you pride yourself on. It's obvious you were probably the uber smart kid forever, perhaps bullied with some childhood trauma. You see, right here, guys, this is a underhanded compliment. You'll get this a lot with women, right? Oh, you're the smart guy, but you were also bullied, with some trauma in there as well. So it's like, I like you, but I'm going to disparage you at the same time. Okay, fine. Let's move on. Now your focus is to be better, to fill that hole or void within you. Okay. You make videos geared to men who are weak too. If you can get them, coach, guide them, and you can fix that pain that you had to feel, nothing like utilizing and profiting off people's weakness as genius market employ. Are you listening? Okay. Well, this is interesting. She's already started off with a slap. Along the way, you bash every type of woman or individual who made you feel any pain to psychologically climb to a space of worthiness. You get everyone's gears burning and get views, lots of them, from the hate and create super negative dynamic. Do you know you are worthy and loved? So let's just pause here for a minute, because when women write and you get this womenese, I know that throughout the sphere, a lot of this is now coined as womenese, so we're going to use that term. But she's on one hand saying you're smart and you're this other thing, but you're also hurt. Like, who hurt you, basically. You can sum up those two paragraphs with "who hurt you, Rich," which is standard, right? She'll go on to say, you have so many fun idiosyncrasies to attempt to protect yourself from criticism, rather than realizing that every perspective, every shard of feedback from each human is an opportunity to sharpen your blade and become better. Does that make you throb? I'm pretty sure something's throbbing in this one, or about to. I imagine you get off on the idea of becoming better. It seems the sole focus of your life's work. How then, this is the bolded part, sorry, I'm just going to bold it for you to show where I'm at. How then, at least in your videos, do you miss this basic point? So now we're turning this email from disparaging, underhanded comments to basically pointing and sputtering, right? I have not introduced myself. My name is Devin. What if I did not disclose I was a woman? Would you still be fair? I could tell this was a woman from the first paragraph before I even read it, okay? Because it always leads with the feels. Women will always lead with the feels, And if I'm not mistaken here, I'm just going to take it out of the screen because I don't want to show the email address. But as I scroll up, the subject line is, what about human compassion, kindness, and empathy? In bold. Let's add this back to the screen. There we go. So how then, at least in your videos, you miss this basic point. I have not introduced myself. Okay, so her name's Devin. Uh, it is my job to understand how individuals learn, operate, and move through life. I understand emotional intelligence. So this is where they'll start after they've dispensed the disparaging comments or the underhanded compliment, as in this case it has been. Then it turns around to, I'm an expert in this space and I've made it my life's work, right? I study the human mind for a living. It is my job to. Now, by the way, I always Google the email address and the name. This is a nobody. There's no PhD. There's no little letters after her name. There's no piece of paper on the wall framed in mahogany. This is her opinion. I'm guessing she's probably like one of these entrepreneurial life coaches, because then she starts to brag about making $175,000 a year. So we'll get to that in just a second. So she studies the human mind. It's my job to understand. Oh, give me a second. I got a call coming in here. Deal with that later. Where was I? I understand emotional intelligence, blah, blah, blah. You're attempting to dive into the masculine psyche and pull what is most important to men: respect. Every point you make is geared towards this. I find you intriguing. I understand this may tickle you a bit because the narcissistic tendencies are strong within you. Will you enjoy that observation? Not only is the grammar horrible, but the way that she's signaling these stories to me, these underhanded, disparaging compliments, it's just ongoing. Usually, see, I should probably, here, let's go full screen for this so I can make this point. So the thing you have to understand about life is when somebody does this, they're like, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. There's one finger pointing at you. There's three fingers pointing back at themselves. Always understand when somebody's pointing and sputtering, they're pointing and sputtering most often their own insecurities, their own problems back at themselves. Those three fingers point right back to themselves. Got a super chat here from Ian. Says, good show with LFA. Your book is ordered and on the way. I hope you enjoy it, brother. It's a great book. If you guys haven't got it yet, the Unplugged Alpha is now available on Amazon in print and Kindle throughout most of the world. There's some markets where you can't get print. I know in Australia you can just get Kindle, but grab it. It's a great read. It's actually on sale right now on Kindle for less than $7. So I will grab a link and drop it in the description, or you can just search for it there. But thank you. Appreciate the super chat. Blah, blah, blah. Let's go back to the blathering here. I find you intriguing. I understand this may tickle. Okay, probably. I am simply pointing out the truth. Okay. I do not expect any of the points I am about to make below to strike, much more than a mocking giggle and a bout of ridicule from your end. Well, here you go, Devin. It's coming now. Perhaps you will engage even one neural network. So now she's going to, you don't have a brain cell to rely on. You must just be a dumb guy, right? Perhaps it will engage even one neural network, and maybe an ounce of realization will wash over you. See, one of the things that you guys have to get as a dude, sorry, I forgot to put it back up on the screen. One of the things you guys have to get as a dude is you have to ignore the outside noise, right? I'm going to make reference to that in the comment that I'm going to get to on an Instagram post in just a moment. But you're going to get a lot of outside noise, especially from women when you don't do what they want you to do. Again, remember, the subject line of this is, what about human compassion, kindness, and empathy? These are female emotions. These are dominating female emotions. They're the softer, gentler sex. Men aren't, strong in the kindness, empathy, and compassion. One of the things we know the differences between men and women, as a matter of fact, is women are far higher in the agreeableness category. Men are far lower. In fact, when men are far lower in the agreeableness category, and one of the things that you'll notice about a lot of entrepreneurs is they essentially have all the characteristics of narcissism. They often have manic type of personalities. People that are uber successful, like there was a saying that one of my mentors once said, it's, people will call you an asshole, but truthfully, it's assholes that get things done in the world. So you just have to ignore all the haters. You also sometimes have to ignore some of the praise too, but you're going to get hate whenever you do anything that's on a far greater level than what somebody else is doing. Again, hate only ever comes from beneath you. Nobody ever gets jealous of a loser. Let's go back here. So here we go. Pointing the truth. I don't expect any of these points I'm about to make strike much of a mocking giggle. Okay. Can you tell that I am endlessly hopeful? Is that my woman showing? Well, it was showing in the subject line, sweetheart, when you started with the empathy and the kindness rhetoric, right? You are free to state your piece. Oh, well, thank you for giving me permission to speak my mind. How kind of you after disparaging me in your few open statements. Spew your venomous fire. So apparently when you say the cold hard truth, fellows, it's considered venomous fire if they don't like it. And beat your chest to your toxic masculinity. You got to love that. That always shows up, right? Again, toxic masculinity. There's no toxic masculinity, gentlemen. There's just conventional masculinity. The problem is today, and I talk about this in the opening chapter of my book in the Female First Primary Social Order, is that conventional masculinity is now deemed as toxic masculinity. Masculinity sure comes in handy when the bad guys come and you need to fight a war and you got to put guns in somebody's hands and they have to dodge those bullets. Masculinity comes in handy when you got to send guys up in planes to dodge missiles and other fighters and stuff like that, doesn't it? But in the conventional world where everything is safe and there's no bad things going down, toxic is now the new term for masculinity. You got to understand that there is no toxic masculinity, just conventional masculinity. Okay, to mold the minds, I'm sure you deem me as lesser worthy, so too will I to you. Okay, lovely. Let's carry on. You stick single mothers in a box. You stick women in a box. Okay. As an entrepreneur, you should understand the error in that. Okay. So here we go again with the pointing and sputtering. You know, she's going back to you can't put everybody in a box. People are different. We're not all in a box. Okay. As an entrepreneur, you should understand the error in that, Rich. Lo and behold, she's a single mom. Shocking. Budget seems to be important to you. I make $175,000 a year. Let's give her a slow clap. I don't know why she would take time out of her day to tell me that she makes $175,000 a year and lecture me in paragraphs about, I too have multiple sources of income and I'm proof, or as you would say, a unicorn, that your argument in every respect is incredibly ignorant. Well, I'm not going to show you the picture that was attached to the Gmail account. Not attractive, right? We're talking pretty basic here. Do you understand that you can place power in the opposite direction so easily? Do you understand the many nuances that lead to becoming a single mother, i.e. the death of a partner, leaving a partner, or a divorce? Let's go back to full screen here for a second. Let's talk about single motherhood for a second. Unless you've been widowed and your husband died in war, dodging bullets, or in the line of duty, fighting fires, being a police officer or something like that, I'm sorry, but you chose to have a child with that man. You chose to get married to that man. I question your decision-making capacity, right? There's a number of channels that talk about this in greater depth, and they all go back to repeal the 19th, which is one approach to it. I don't ever see that happening, but you have to understand there's not a lot of ownership that gets taken by the single mommy crowd, right? Like, i.e. the death of a partner. Okay, fine, partner dies. I still won't date a widowed single mom with children in tow if there's women out there on the sexual marketplace without those types of problems that would be introduced in my life. You're basically self-cucking yourself when you decide to take on the responsibility of raising somebody else's kids. You have 100% responsibility as a parental type of figure / ATM, but 0% authority over those kids. They will be your kids when they need money for medical procedures, for university, for insert whatever, but they'll be her kids when it comes time to disciplining them. Again, I talk about that in my book. There's a in-depth chapter on the risks of dating single moms. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying you decide for yourself, okay? That's what I tell guys. Anyway, back to this. Leaving of a partner, divorce. Okay. You are placing a blanket statement, not truth. It's not your truth, sweetheart, but it is the reality. It is the behaviors that come with taking on the risk of dating a single mommy, right? So she wants to carve out the exception. Like, I'm not like those girls. I'm different. I'm a different kind of single mommy because I make $175,000 a year. Okay, cool. Whatever. I don't care. Good for you, lady. On such a nuanced scenario, you'll never provide all the facts. When do I leave the facts out? Can somebody please comment and tell me when I leave the facts out? I've not seen a single comment from anybody that has been able to argue. Let's just deal with the single mommy thing. I've not seen anybody aside from single mommies who are looking for a beta provider to pay for, Chad's kids. I've not seen a single argument that dispels any of these truth bombs that I've dropped. They are, in fact, the truth. You don't have an argument on such a nuanced scenario. You'll never provide all the facts yet claim it as truth. Hey, don't believe me? I don't care. If you don't want to accept ownership and responsibility for your choices and from where you got in life, that's cool. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect me, and it won't affect any guy that chooses not to be with somebody that's going to potentially create drama and layers of problem in their life. It's just a smarter move for dudes to ignore it and move on. Anyway, so here we go. Do you understand the liability in this communicating to an entire audience? So she's trying to hold me liable, a guy that's sharing his experiences, having been in a 3-year relationship with a single mom, having dated many single moms before and after that, with you guys, and saying, hey, these have been my experiences. And then the funny thing is when you go to the comments, a lot of guys are all like, yep, that was 100% my experience. I'll never do it again. Right? Let me grab the super chat here real quick. Matt says, your book was an excellent read. Cold hard truth is increasingly needed in this world. It's sitting next to my copies of The Rational Male. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you. And welcome, Aaron Washington, to the channel membership. Okay, so apparently I need to be held liable for sharing these experiences with you guys. So your stance underneath the jeers and joking is hurtful. Shocking. Her feelings are hurt. See, I've said this before, guys. A bomber only gets flak when it's over the target. The only time a bomber during World War II, I've got a big painting over here of a Lancaster. You guys can't see it. But the only time a bomber would get flak was when it was over the target. They do not defend anything that's not a target. This is why she's emailing me, because I'm right. Your stance underneath jeers of joking is hurtful. It is very transparent that anyone with this mindset has a deeper psychological hurt. So now she's going to, well, if you don't take single mommies into your life, then you have psychological issues. Who hurt you? Okay, that's fine. That's the way that you want to approach and handle it. That's cool, sweetheart. Let's carry on here. Your stance underneath your, okay. Now, it's funny because she's got this all in italic now. This is not intelligent, but you are. So what you do is breed a larger space of contempt. Do you understand that your intelligence is a superpower? Do you understand the environment you create? Do you know that there are two truths for everything? Do you know that you choose the darker road? Do you know this hurts people trying to do their best? Do you know the damage you cause? Here, I'll tell you exactly what happened, fellas. This is what happened. Her ex-boyfriend dumped her. He saw my videos and realized he was in a crappy relationship. I've had this email before. I've had this email or this DM before where my boyfriend dumped me because he was watching your videos. I'm a single mom, and then blah, 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 blah. And the funny thing is when you get those on Facebook, you can click the profile and you can see what kind of life they live, and you can see why the dude left her. So here's the thing, ladies, if you're watching this. Take ownership for your lives, take ownership for your choices, and become better yourself. Pointing and sputtering at men for not, becoming less so you can become more to supplicate your whims and desires is not going to get you to where you want. Do the work on yourself. If you got dumped by a guy and you're unhappy about it, don't blame me or anybody else. Blame yourself. There's probably a reason why he walked from you. Okay? It's as simple as that. Don't get upset at me. Quick shout out to these new members again. Aaron Washington. We got Mr. Borgen. Welcome, dudes. Let's go back over here. So apparently I'm not intelligent and I'm hurting her and I caused damage for her. Okay. So what about human compassion, kindness, and empathy? So this is the title of her email. Have you ever had a day that just felt really hard? Yep. Where nothing went your way. Lots of times. Happens all the time. Maybe you tried to go to a safe space. Okay, now we're talking about the feels again with the safe space. To watch a video, to whine, but then you stumbled upon a video ripping shreds of everything that you are. See, if I ever have one of those crap days? So clearly she had a crap day. She probably got dumped, and then she saw one of my videos, maybe found out why she got dumped. And because it resonated so hard, she decided to reach out. You read the comments and it's like hyenas clawing prey apart. Well, I don't control the comments, sweetheart. You can't, take up this grievance with me. That's other people just telling their own stories. Take it up with them. The comments aren't true. Oh, why not? Because you don't want to believe them? The points of the video weren't true. It's funny. If you say something like, hey, these are the 5 reasons why you want to skip single moms, guys, and then guys in the comments are like, yep, that was my exact experience. I'm never doing it again. Then, her response is, the comments aren't true. Right? Okay, sure. The points in the video weren't true, but it hurts because you were placed in a box. You knew it was an inaccurate, but still cut. Yes, your videos hurt. They hurt others. The point of my videos is not to hurt anybody. The point of my videos is to save guys from screwing up their lives. Let's go full screen here. Let me grab a super chat real quick. Aaron says, I'm starting to think this type of woman doesn't want equality. She wants dominance. Bingo. Like role reversal, the 1950s and 60s. Sorry, not happening with me. Bingo. That is slow clap. Well said, Aaron. This new version of toxic feminism is, in fact, a supremacy movement, and it doesn't aim to level the playing field. The playing field's been leveled a long time ago. It's a supremacy movement. She wants guys to bend the knee to her every woman desire, and because I tell guys to put themselves first and make themselves their own mental point of origin, they get upset about it. That's one way to look at it. That's a sulky part of the response mechanism, and I tell guys not to do the same thing too, as well. The point of this video, blah blah blah. Okay, you knew it was inaccurate. So she's going on saying it's inaccurate, it's not true, and hurt. Blah blah blah. Being a mom is hard. Okay, well, duh, no guff. Like, did you think about that before you let them nut? There's like 30 different types of birth control for women. Use your head. It's not guy's problem. It's not any other guy's problem to raise some other man's seed because you made some bad choices, right? Yeah, being a parent's hard. No guff. I know. Being a person who is healing is hard. Working is hard. Existing is hard. Ripping them apart and claiming it as a tactic to better their lives, a man, is the harshest stance I've ever stumbled across. Blah, 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 blah. We are all in this life together. Okay, let's pull this out. Drop this super chat here, and I'm going to switch over to another screen, because again, guys, doesn't want to do the work, doesn't want to accept the reality of the cold hard truth bombs. So instead of accepting the reality and doing the work, it's point and sputter, shame, shame, shame. Who hurt you? You're probably dumb. You should know better. What about some kindness, empathy, and give me some free shit? Blah, 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 blah. Listen, anybody that's making $175,000 a year and has a purpose in life won't be doing this. Guys won't be doing this. I can tell you that right now. There's no guy right now that's emailing some chick on the other side of the YouTubes that's there's channels dedicated to how to be a gold digger out there. There's channels dedicated teaching women how to extort financial resources, how to fly first class instead of coach on flights, and basically milk these guys for the tax cattle that they are. Right? We've talked about tax cattle before. It's just the reality of the sexual marketplace, man. You just have to accept it for what it is. Okay. Let me find this. Let's see if I can find it here. So I got this add to stream. I got this post today I put on Instagram, and unfortunately with the desktop, it doesn't line up the pin post. Let me see if it's here. Anyway, you can see the post there to the left. It doesn't line up the pin post, but it does on my app. So Wistful Seeker is her name. You can go to Instagram and you can see it. Here, I'll just put it up on the full screen so you can see the name, so you guys don't doubt that I'm reading something that isn't factual. So it's a pinned comment, Wistful Thinker there. She says, if you're so alpha, okay, so I'll just read it out. She goes, if you're so alpha, then why aren't you in a position to save us from this clown world? Or does alpha just mean being able to have sex with a lot of girls to you? She uses a more disparaging term than that. But the post here is, On one side, let me put it back up on the screen. On one side, it says, why Ivanka Trump's new haircut should make us very afraid, by this Arwa Madawi. One. The next one over, about a month later, this is Wednesday, 18th of September, and this next one here is the 12th of October. She says, the uproar over AOC's hair is a reminder that women can't win under the patriarchy. So if it's Ivanka Trump, everybody should be afraid. If it's AOC, you can't say anything about her hair, and it's all the patriarchy's fault. Again, now I can't show the pinned comment here, but you can go to my Instagram. It's just entrepreneurs_in-cars, and you can see it there. Again, I'll read you her comment again. So her argument is, if you're so alpha, then why aren't you in a position to save us from this clown world? So let me address that. Because this is the typical pointing and sputter. If you're so alpha, why can't you do this, that, and the other thing? First of all, I don't walk around calling myself alpha, okay? If that's what you see, cool. I understand, right? But I'm not walking around calling myself that. My book title is The Unplugged Alpha, simply because when you unplug from these lies that society programs into you and you plug into the truth, you literally become an unplugged alpha, right? So why aren't we saving women? Why am I not saving her from this clown world, is basically her complaint, is her argument. Well, ladies, we've done, for the better part of the entire evolutionary history of human beings, played Captain Save a garden tool. And it hasn't worked out so well for us now, has it? Women don't respond to that. Women don't respond to guys swooping in and doing that. We certainly can't go and complain on Capitol Hill. Let's use an example like divorce law. So family law is very, very hostile towards fathers, far more friendly towards mothers. There's an entire chapter in my book. I talk about why smart men don't marry, but women get a far better deal with family law. And in fact, everything that's written in the code in the matrix, like in family law itself, more or less encourages them to behave in quite a bad way that is not in the best interest of the kids, and certainly has no benefit to the father. So why aren't women marching on Capitol Hill to change family law? And I'll tell you what the answer is: because they don't want to, because it's in their favor. Why would they change something that's in their favor, right? They're not going to argue to change that. Women need to start doing something about turning the tide here if you want guys to start saving you again. Otherwise, we're just going to unplug from it all and kind of make ourselves our own mental point of origin. And we're going to start to set healthy boundaries around what we will and won't tolerate. She goes on to say, or does alpha just mean being able to sleep with a lot of girls to you? So let me see if I can click through here on this profile. Let's see, we've got to look. We got nothing. It's a private account with 58 followers. It's pretty nothing going on there, right? So we have no idea what this person's all about. Here's the thing, guys. Again, you are going to get this nonsense from women. Guys like me get it more than anybody else. I know I do. I'm sure if you take any of my viral tweets, like, another example is when I tweeted out at one point, hey ladies, this is how you keep a guy. And I gave a list of like 5 things. It was like, have culinary skills, be pleasant, know what he likes in the bedroom, don't be a single mom, don't have debt, basic stuff, like stuff that her great grandmother might have said to her granddaughter, 70 years ago, something like that. It's just completely conventional things. And the internet melts down and loses its mind. So if you want to see how women respond to these cold, hard truth bombs, just take any of my tweets and just retweet it, drop it on Facebook or something like that. And you'll get an idea of the level of pointing and sputter. It's just that's all that you're going to get. There's no logical argument. A great example is when you saw Dr. Jordan Peterson with that, what was her name? Kathy Newman. It was a famous interview like a year ago. You guys must remember it. And, she's basically taking everything that he says out of context and saying, so what you're saying is, and then turning it around to make it like, oh, it's the patriarchy's fault, or men bad. It's always something like big men bad, orange man bad, toxic masculinity bad. If you're a dude, it's always bad, right? So you're going to get that. Just understand it is what it is. And you just have to have a good chuckle at it. Let her throw her hissy fit and move on. Let's deal with this super chat. Mark, dude, Generous super chat. Thank you. Toxic masculinity, as these women call it, built the strong, abundant nations they live in. Listen, if it wasn't for toxic masculinity, you wouldn't have flushing toilets. You wouldn't have electronic devices. You wouldn't have an electricity grid. You wouldn't have roads. You wouldn't have gas to put in your car. Do you think women are out on mining rigs drilling for oil and gas or in coal mines? No. Toxic masculinity, aka conventional masculinity, is what facilitates all of this. They have the luxurious life they live in today because of men who left their families, shed their blood, and gave their lives for their ancestors so they can be here today. Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that, Mark. That's a very good point. You see, on that note, I think we can wrap up. We had a good 30-minute broadcast here. I think that was interesting. I'm not going to post her photo. There's people in the chat right now asking me to post her photo. I'm not going to do that. I'm ahead of that. Just trust me. We're not dealing with a dime here. We're dealing with a single mommy and your standard type of single mommy. She's obviously been dumped or hurt. Maybe the guy left her. I don't know. And she came across my video. Maybe she was on YouTube. See, there's absolutely no reason why YouTube would recommend my video to somebody like that, unless she was on YouTube like, why did I get dumped as a single mom? Or how do I keep a guy around as a single mom? That's probably how she ran into some sort of content. It was probably the video that's quite popular on my channel, which is titled five reasons why smart guys avoid dating single moms. So you can look that up if you haven't seen it. But all 5 of those arguments is 100% relevant. And again, you guys can choose to date single moms. You want to invite them in your life. You know, you want to get involved with their kids and raise some other man's seed and self-cuckold yourself. That's your choice. Fine, cool. I get it. I don't care. It doesn't make, it's no sweat off my balls. It doesn't matter, right? The thing that I always find interesting is the lectures that you get when you drop these cold, hard truth bombs. And it's always, who hurt you? You know, you're not very bright, although you seem bright. It's like, lady, can you make up your mind? You know, like, what is your problem? Anyway, let's wrap it up on that note. This was a fun broadcast. I hope you guys have an amazing night. Before I go, real quick, it's a Friday night. Shout out to the Unplugged Alpha, my new book. It is available on Amazon. It is a quick 200-page read. You guys are going to love it. It's on sale right now on Kindle. I think it might also be on sale on paperback, if I'm not mistaken, too. But it's getting great reviews. In the top pinned comment in the description, I'll leave a link for it, or just search on Amazon for the Unplugged Alpha. Final note, I think tomorrow Troy's hosting Rule Zero. Look for an announcement on social media. But there you have it, guys. Hope you have an amazing one.